Hello. In this episode of kubetuesday, I'd like to show you the second part of pod identity in Kubernetes in Amazon EKS. Here, we've created a Kubernetes service account in the prior episode. Now, we're going to take a look at then going and creating an identity and access management role that is going to be associated with that service account through a pod identity association. And then we're going to go and also have a policy and trust policy for that IAM role as well. Let's take a look. So I'm going to close off this preview right here and go take this little sequence of commands here and define a few little variables first to get us set up. All right. So come down here and go and just run those variables, just defining what cluster we're going to use, namespace, and the app job runner here, and a little bucket for that to access. So first, I'm going to go and create a little trust document here. This is going to constitute the source of the trust policy for the pods.eks.amazonaws.com to go and assume this role. You can be very specific with this with conditions if you like, but I've just left it kind of general there. And the documentation that I have linked in the video description, you can go and follow that, and that is where I grabbed that example from. Then I'm going to go and just assign, create a file used to define a policy, and there we're just going to access an S3 bucket that I've created previously. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create a policy. So create an identity and access management policy here, and I'm going to snag the return value of that. It's going to be a policy Amazon resource name. Then create a IAM role that is going to use that policy and save away the role ARN from that. Then I'm going to attach the policy to the role here and go ahead and then have that relationship between those two and relate that back to the figure I showed you at the beginning, the little mermaid diagram. And then we go and finally take the EKS and tell it we want to create this pod identity association from the Kubernetes service account to the IAM role that's going to use. That's it. So we have created that whole relationship. Let me scroll back up to the top of the figure here and go show you the preview again. And we've got that pod associated with the service account earlier. And now we've created the service account relationship with the role, the pod identity, not shown in this diagram, but I could add that to the figure if you want. And then we have the IAM policy related to that. That's it. So, second part of pod identity. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of kubetuesday.